there signaling that everything is ready for the starting procedure to begin. He surprised everybody and he goes into the race lead. Fantastic start. So, there's a big crash. Around the outside and he takes the second place.
A warm welcome to everyone joining us from all over the world. We are here at the beautiful Red Bull Ring here in Austria, Spielberg, for the third race of the Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship here for round 2 of the season. The sun has finally come to visit us, although just for the final race of the weekend, but we are here ready to witness yet another spectacular event. 25 minutes of racing. We're just 3 minutes away from the start of the formation lap, and because of it is race 3, the grid has been determined by the results of race number 1 with the inversion of the top 6 this time around, and therefore it's Matilda Patz on pole position ahead of Canada, finally, with Noah in second position. The winner of race 1, of course, Gino Trappa in 6th place. So it's Mimasi in second and Matilda Patz in first place. We'll see who will come out on top in this third race of the season. We are excited. We are ready. The sun is finally here with us. So let's go one more time here for Formula 4 Central European Zone. We're ready for race 3 here at Spielberg.
Ez meg a hatos. Okay. ...144.
And here we are, last but not least on the grid for the final event of this weekend. It's race 3 for the Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship. Ready to finish off in style this second race weekend of the season for this Formula 4 Championship that has come to its third iteration after starting off in 2023. It's become better, stronger, and more entertaining than ever here in 2025. We've had a lot of fun in the opening 2 races. Gino Trappa taking the win in race 1 and David Walter taking victory in race number 2. They start 6th and 4th respectively. In fact, in race 3, we take the results from race number 1 and we proceed to invert the positions of the top 4 to 8. We decide after race 1 how many places will be reversed on the starting grid, and that is decided by a ballot that has elected that the top 6 will be reversed in this particular weekend. And so Matilda Paz finished 6th in race 1, and she now has the chance to start for the first time in her career in Formula 4 CEZ from pole position. Alongside her, it's going to be Heidi Mimasi, the Canadian, who finished 5th in race number 1 and was very quick throughout the entire weekend. He looked to be on for a podium early on in race 2 before slightly dropping off at the end of the race. However, he was still able, after 25 very grueling minutes of racing, to come away with a podium, the first of his season. But we're ready to get things underway here as even the last car places itself on the starting grid. That is car number 26 with Chiara Henny. And here we go with the green flag, and as the lights go out, we're going to go racing here at the Red Bull Ring, and it's been a good start for Matilda Paz, not a good one, in fact, for Heidi Mimasi, who's dropped to 5th already, as Max Carhan is now up to 2nd position, and now everyone follows suit through turn 1. It's Matilda Paz once again in front, but Max Carhan is in 2nd, and behind him it looks to be one of the Mafia cars, probably David Walter, who is now up into 3rd, but watch out for the Renauer Motorsport car of Heidi Mimasi, who looks to be on the charge after making a mistake at the start and losing quite a lot of places. We also saw a slow one for Theodor Boderstein from Mafia, who lost a couple of places off the line. That wasn't the case, however, for Matilda Paz, who is now in the lead and going on stronger than ever as the German, for the first time, leads this season. We saw a car slightly on the gravel on the outside of turn 4, but Paz leads ahead of Carhan, Mimasi, and one of the Genza cars, that should be Gino Trappa, who's already up to 4th. So it's not been a good one for David Walter, who's dropped to 6th, and William Carlson has instead retained 5th position, losing a spot to Trappa, but gaining it on David Walter, the Dane, who's now down to 6th position. Here we go with Gino Trappa against Heidi Mimasi, and I think he has gone through to 3rd place, which is fantastic news for the Argentine. So it's Matilda Paz, Max Carhan, Gino Trappa, and Heidi Mimasi that make up the top 4, with William Carlson and David Walter in 5th and 6th, respectively. Bennett Gaspar is in 7th, the Hungarian who did such a good job in race 2 before spinning out of the race at the exit of turn 4 at the halfway mark. And here we see all the cars going towards the hairpin. And Matilda Paz seemed to have quite a good gap now over Max Carhan. We saw her struggling with straight line speed in race number 2, but she was mighty quick in the corners, especially on the braking. She looked to have such good confidence. And who knows, is this the first time that Formula 4 Central European Zone sees Matilda Paz take home the trophy for the winner? It would of course be a historic win as no woman has ever done that in the history of the series. No woman has even stepped on the podium in the first 2 years of the championship. As we now see, however, a big pile-up. We have car number 22 of Theodor Borenstein and car number 8, which is stuck on top of Borenstein, and that is Romain Bouquet, the Frenchman, as the safety car has been called out on track. So once again, the safety car has to go out on track, as of course we need to recover the two cars that are stuck one on top of the other. But Matilda Paz is still leading. She had a phenomenal start to the race, holding pole position, and unlike Hayley Mimasi, she was able to have a great getaway, which seemed to be enough to keep to keep the lead, and it was in fact, whereas Mimasi has gone down to 4th now in the standings. Genza Motorsport, on the other hand, were good enough to push themselves to 2nd and 3rd with Max Carhan and Gino Trappa. We also saw the medical car overtake the entire group, of course, going towards the two cars, and we've seen that they were able to detangle them. Which was definitely a good outcome in this situation. And unfortunately, Theodor Borenstein and Romain Bouquet are both out of the running, together with Mikalina Sabaj, who unfortunately couldn't take the start after the damage sustained by her car in race number 2. A crash at the start of the race together with Nikolai Dirved, who instead is racing now, and he is down in 14th position so far. So the safety car is now on track once more. The drivers will have to follow it as the marshals clear out the two cars that have crashed out during the opening lap of the race. That is Theodor Borenstein in his Maffi. Romain Bouquet's car has already been removed. The Yannick Motorsport car, sponsored by Orlen this season, fortunately hasn't had the greatest start of 2025. The Frenchman, who did not score points in the first 4 races of the season, he tried to do that in the second one and managed to do so, finally finishing in 10th position, just in front of Bennett Gaspar with Django Motorsport. But unfortunately, after claiming that first point of 2025, he is now out of the running. And it's a shame for Theodor Borenstein too, who was very competitive throughout the season. The young Czech driver who was already part of the championship last year for a couple of rounds. He raced at the Slovakia ring, where he got a best finish of 6th. Unfortunately, that will not be beaten today due to this retirement. He was as high as 8th this year in the second race of the opening round. but unfortunately he leaves the Red Bull Ring with no points scored. He will in fact stay down in 14th position in the driver standings. So far so good. Instead for Matilda Paz, she's had a lovely weekend here. She finished in 6th in race 1, which is her best result in the series. She finished 7th in race number 2, which makes it 3 races in a row that she has scored points after her 9th position in the final race of round 1. But now, of course, the German is dreaming big as she leads the race. No woman has ever stood on the podium of Formula 4 CEZ, let alone win a race, which would be incredible for both her and, naturally, the team that she's racing with. Of course, the German, who is making her debut this year here in F4 CEZ, racing with Matilda Racing in collaboration with AS Motorsport. Safety car is still out on track. We're waiting for a confirmation of when we will be able to be back under green flag racing. It could be already as soon as this lap or the next one. If the marshals are still clearing the track, we'll see pretty shortly as we go through turns 4 and 5. Here we go. That is the point where the 2 cars were crashed out, and you can see that track is now clear. So we are getting ready for a restart, and I imagine that the safety car is going to come in at the end of this lap, and there is the race control confirmation of that. And so we are ready to get things on the way once more as Matilda Paz, Max Carhan and Gino Trappa are ready from positions 1 to 3 to battle for the race win in the last 15 minutes or so of not only this race but the entire race weekend too. It's a brand new situation for Matilda Paz. She has to learn how to command things from a race start, or a race restart should I say, from safety car conditions back to green flag racing. We'll see her now take the restart now, and it was a good restart from Matilda Paz. Very well managed by the German. It can't be the same for Max Carhan, who's now under pressure for Gino Trappa as the championship leader now pulls to the inside. Let's see if the Argentina can make a move. He's hard on the brakes, and he manages to take 2nd position away from his teammate. Watch out for Hedi Mimasi now, fresh of his podium in race 2. He could be on for a 2nd consecutive finish in the top 3. However, Carhan now takes the slipstream of his teammate and could be able to defend, but look at the straight line speed for the Renault Motorsport car as Mimasi goes right around the outside of Gino Trappa. The 2 almost make contact, and Mimasi has to let off the throttle. The same goes for Carhan, who was now on the grass. The 3 of them fighting very hard, and this is just allowing Matilda Paz to build a very nice gap over the 3 of them. Let's see if Mimasi can launch an attack. No, it's Max Carhan who does so, overtaking him in turn 4. There's also a big fight behind between Javier Herrera, Nicolas Cortez and Simon Schranz as the Austrian looks for his first points on home soil. Finishing 8th in race 1 was the best result of the season. Of course, gaining 4 important points in that race, but he unfortunately stalled on the grid in race number 2, making it hard for him to wait for the final race of the weekend to try and gain some more points, but that is exactly what is happening right now. He was in 10th, but now has gained a couple of places following that beautiful restart. Now we go across the start-finish line, and Matilda Paz is a 1.3 second gap over Gino Trappa, which is very good to start off with, though the Argentine has been mighty quick throughout the entire weekend. We were talking about Schranz is now up into 7th position, 3 places gained after the safety car restart. That's very well done from the hometown hero, as the home favorite now, closes in on race 2 winner David Walter, and likely Gino Trappa's main rival for the title this season, if the performances from the opening 2 rounds are anything to go by. And now we see Trappa beginning to gain on Matilda Paz. He already got a couple of tenths in the first sector, and sector 2 seems to go pretty smoothly as well for him. This could be a very important moment, not just for the race, but for the season itself, as Gino Trappa is most definitely the favorite now, especially after finishing in the top 2 for 4 out of the opening 5 races. As we see now with the beautiful drone cam, the entire field rushing towards turn 9. As here we can see Simon Schranz, who's on a roll after the race restart, is now on the back of David Walter, though a slight mistake on the final corner, I think, has now given Nicolas Cortez the chance to attack into turn 1. Hard on the brakes is the Genza driver, and he makes it through to 7th position, albeit going slightly wide through the first corner and giving Schranz a chance to do the over and under and get the place back. But watch out for Cortez towards turn 3, and watch out for Javier Herrera, who goes down the outside. No, he doesn't. He just thinks better of it, and his teammate Cortez misjudges the braking point, has to rejoin the track and probably give the position back to the Renault Motorsport driver after having overtaken him off the track. We'll see what happens now towards turn number 4. I think Schranz will try and gain the place, but he doesn't. He has to let off the throttle, and this gives Herrera the chance to overtake around the outside of turn 4 and 5. Let's see if he can get the move done by turn 6. No, he doesn't. He stays behind, though. He tries the attack later into turn 6. He didn't look like he had the speed, but he definitely has it now, as the two go side by side to turn 7 as well. Still side by side after turn 7 and 8. This is lovely racing, as Renault Motorsport and Genza give an incredible spectacle in these parts of the races. But that is incredible for Simon Schranz. Lovely defensive work as he stays in 8th position, though he has conceded now the place to Nicolas Cortez. One Mexican goes, another one arrives, as now it's Javier Herrera's turn to move up the inside into turn 1. And this time he makes the move stick over his rival. And that is imperative for him to try and make this work, especially now, given how important it is to go in front in this part of the race. Now slightly wide goes Simon Schranz after trying the overtake, which means that Bennett Gaspar has gone through, and in just a couple of laps Schranz has gone from 10th to 7th back to 10th, and now under attack from David Gorčica. Slight lockup for Herrera as well. Gorčica tried it around the outside, didn't work though on Simon Schranz, who keeps the place and keeps it going so far in 10th position, the last one in the points. Meanwhile, in front, it's still Matilda Paz with a 1.3 second gap, which has now gone back down to 0.8 of a second, thanks to Gino Trappa's fastest lap of the race on the previous lap, a 1 minute 34.2 compared to a 1 minute 34.7 for Paz. The two of them are about to cross the start-finish line once again, so we will see what the situation is, and you can tell by the images that Trappa and Karhan as well are much closer to Paz now. Only 0.4 is the gap between the German and the Argentine. Watch out here for the fight for 5th position, as David Walter is now very close to the back of William Carlson. We saw this fight in race 2 go the way of the Danish driver. It's a Scandinavian fight between the Dane and the Swedish talent, who now goes to the inside trying to defend the position. What can David Walter do around the outside? Nothing, unfortunately, this time around, and he's actually now under attack from Nicolas Cortez, who has gained quite a lot of time in the last couple of laps, managing to gain a lot of time, especially in the situation. Around the outside goes Cortez on the Mafia racing car, and he makes it. Phenomenal move from the Mexican. We saw also a big lockup from William Carlson, but that was not influential to the race, as Genza now moves up into 6th position, and race 2's winner moves down to 7th. That is David Walter, of course, the Danish driver for Mafia Racing, bringing the Swiss outfit to the win, their first this year in the championship, as now the three of them go slightly wide, especially in the case of William Carlson, but most importantly go towards the start-finish line to start yet another lap. So far, though, the attention is still on the leading trio of Matilda Paz, Gino Trappa, and Max Carhan. The two of them, the three of them actually, I should say, having a good gap over Mimasi, whereas we're about to go almost 3 wide here towards turn number 4. It's once again Genzer on the attack, and Cortez tried the very brave move on the braking. He makes it stick, though he did go off the track to do so, whereas Carlson stayed perfectly inside track limits, but Cortez retains the position, and now it's Walter who tries a move up the inside of Carlson into turn 5, but that didn't work, so he's still behind it. Meanwhile, there's a couple of warning flags for track limits. We saw it with car number 44, William Carlson, now 69 for Gaspar Bennett. Now we can see the drone cam with Javier Herrera also in the mirrors of William Carlson, who has been overtaking throughout this race, but has been overtaken now from the Mafia Racing car of David Walter, as this morning's winner is now up into 6th position. Carlson now has to look in the mirrors from Herrera, and also Renault Motorsport Simon Schranz, who is looking quite competitive now, whereas unfortunately we didn't see the move for the lead, but as we can see from the standings, Gino Trappa has now moved in 1st place. He has overtaken Matilda Paz with just 4 minutes to go, and this could be crucial come the end, not just of the season, but of this race as well, of course, as Paz is now down to 2nd, Karhan is in 3rd, whereas here we have a fight between Mafia Racing and Yannick Motorsport. David Gorchita trying to make a move, but we're now following the lap times pretty closely to see who will come out on top in that fight for 1st place. And here they are, with Gino Trappa in 1st position, Matilda Paz down to 2nd. She still has, however, a spot on the podium, and she would, even if Karhan was to make a move. Let's see if he tries something up the inside into turn 1. He doesn't. He thinks better of it. They still have around 2 laps, maybe slightly less, maybe slightly more. We'll see. We are right on the verge of making it to 3 laps to the end of the race. I'm sure that someone like Matilda Paz would want only 2 of them just to secure this podium, which would be absolutely historic, not just for her, but for the entire series as well, becoming the first woman to step on the podium. Behind them, though, Hidino Mimasi trying to do everything in his power to shorten the gap, which is now around 1.5 seconds between himself and 3rd place. Whereas David Walter now into 6th has done the fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 33.8. Unfortunately for him, however, there's no bonus points for fast lap here in F4 CEZ. But he still manages to hold 6th position, which would be some very important points. However, his main rival in the championship, Gino Trappa, is leading the race, and Matilda Pat has been absolutely phenomenal today, but unfortunately for her, her straight line speed has not been ideal throughout the entire weekend. So it's going to be very difficult for her to try and make a move up the inside or around the outside of Gino Trappa. But she sure can put her rival under pressure. I think we will be able to do 2 more laps, including this one, which is great news for us watching. Not so great news for Matilda Pat, who now has to defend from Max Karhan. Let's see if the Czech driver tries to move up the inside. He sure does, but there's no room for him to move in front of Matilda Pat, the German, defending flawlessly so far against Karhan. After seeing Gino Trappa overtaking her, she is now back in top form and in 2nd place, doing wonders. But you can see just how she starts struggling a bit with straight line speed, especially now, and Karhan almost tries to move up the inside into turn 6, but that would have been a very risky overtake. With 1 more lap to go, Karhan definitely has better shots at 2nd position. Meanwhile, Nicolas Cortez gets a warning for track limits. He's currently in 5th, with David Walter basically glued to his rear wing. Just 2 tenths separating the 2 of them on the start-finish line last lap. And speaking of last laps, here we go for the final time here at the Red Bull Ring. Crossing the line with just 5 seconds to go is enough for 1 more lap, and so Gino Trappa starts the last 4.3 kilometers that separate him from a 2nd win of the season and of the weekend. Matilda Pat now has to defend hard on Max Karhan if she wants to finish in 2nd position. However, a podium is at stake, and I'm sure that she knows that too. With the 2 of them coming towards the hairpin now, it's still a very good defending line from Matilda Pat, who stays in front. And this fight has allowed Heidi Mimasi back in the fight for 2nd. However, he needs to find 2 overtakes in just 6 corners, which is going to be very tough, especially with lockups like those. However, he is still up there in the fight after finishing 3rd in race number 1. Let's see if they can make something happen. Even Javier Herrera now has a warning for track limits, but the race is about to be done. The clock has hit 0. And so this is the final lap and the final 2 corners for Gino Trappa. Coming from 3 second place finishes in a row after the opening race weekend of the season, he was still looking for his maiden win. Not only did he get it in race 1, he does the double here in race 3 as well. It's another win for Gino Trappa. A phenomenal 2nd place for Matilda Pat, as she becomes the first woman to step on the F4 CEZ podium. Thanks to this phenomenal performance starting from pole. And 3rd place goes to Max Karhan, as CEZ Motorsport is back with 2 cars on the podium, as the Czech driver was able to hold off Heidi Mimasi right at the end. And speaking of right at the end, it's David Walter who finishes in 5th, overtaking Nicolas Cortez on the final lap of the race, while also taking the fastest lap with 1 minute 33.7. It's utter joy for CEZ Motorsport, as they can celebrate a 1-3, which is not only crucial for the championship in the team standings, but also super important for Gino Trappa, as he extends his championship lead. But the star of the show today is Matilda Pat with that incredible 2nd position. She must be elated with that performance. driving for Matilda Racing. She just showed how good she can be starting from pole. And here are the highlights for race number 3, the one that closes officially this race weekend, and it was once again Gino Trappa who took home the race win. And those were the highlights for race number 3 for Formula 4 Central European Zone. In round 2 of the season, Gino Trappa takes the win once more ahead of Matilda Paz and Max Carhan, with Heidi Mimasi, David Walter and Nicolas Cortez rounding off the top 6. William Carlson, Javier Herrera, Simon Schranz, and last but not least, Gaspar Bennett in the top 10. And that is all from the Red Bull Ring. Thank you guys for being with us, and see you in round 3 of the season, which will be in Salzburg at the Salzburg Ring from the 30th of May to the 1st of June. Thank you and goodbye.
The green flag is now in the air, signaling that everything is ready for the starting procedure to begin. He surprised everybody and he goes into the race lead. Fantastic start.